You can do it. The black folks can do it. Now here we are, again, victims.
Sure. We need a pawn.
We need a pawn. Just like the loyal black folks in the South End of America got a bad break, especially during Reconstruction, because everybody looked around, even with some of the Ku Klux Klan, because the Ku Klux Klan started to get infiltrated. Thaddeus Stevens and his boys saw how effective the Klan was in the community, so they infiltrated the Klan. That's when Nathan Bedford Forrest said, boys, let's just come on, go home, because this thing is not right. So here we go again. John Gordon said that the relationship between black folks and white folks in the South will probably never be the same again. And it's because of the treachery that these folks did from the North and what they did. And those boys, just like Jesse Jackson with the pretty shoes and those pretty cars and the car was filled.
Sure.
The poverty pimps of America, using their fellow man. Using the black folks, and most of the innocent black folks became victims. There were very many loyal black folks, as there is today. You see, so and it's very sad too, because the public school system not only did it dumb down young blacks, it dumbed down young whites too. Because even when I put on my uniform many times and carry my flags, someone comes to me and say, a black man wearing a Confederate uniform carrying the flag. I thought all black folks hated the flag. How do I hate my flag? This is my flag. I was born with the flag. All these big trucks running around here with the Confederate flag on it. Let me tell you something. See, education is a key. And these boys knew in NAACP. They present to this black community that there's some kind of victory or something won because you attack the flag.
Right.
And you bring Al Sharpton out.
Oh, sure.
You know, and I was yesterday, I heard that Al Sharpton said that he found that he may be kin to the Honorable Senator Stone family. And I'm so very proud that my good friend Joe Spacino over in Cross City gave me an application for the Sons of Confederate Veterans and offered to pay Al's life membership. Well, Mrs. Mitchell, why not? She's a member of the United Daughters of Confederacy, and in her very own words, I want my children to know everything. My grandchildren need to know who they are.
Well, you know, we had one of our friends from church, Chuck Cottle. He's over at Camp Breckenridge out in Oxford. He put up for Black History Month a display for with your picture and Nelson Wimbush and a bunch of others in the library.
That's all right.
A bookcase like the one you see behind you over there. It's about 7 feet high, 4 feet wide. And he put the flag, your picture, books, and all this, that, and the other, the history of Black Confederacy. Well, he gets the thing just about done. And this white guy comes out of nowhere, decides that a white librarian, she's all upset. Or white guy, I forget what he called me. Anyway, very upset. This can't be, you can't put this up here. And this black lady works at the library. She jumped all over this white guy. He said, you leave him alone. But he's putting up there the truth. We need to see this. If this is part of reality, this is part of who we are. And she stood up for him.
Absolutely.
And I guess the other guy said, oh, wait a minute. This is not how it's supposed to go. You know, I guess he thought he talked loud. You know what I'm saying? And then she'd get upset. Somebody, oh, that's right. It backfired.
But you see, I've walked these streets. You know, I've walked thousands of miles. You know, when I was walking to Texas, and I'm going right down the same road that many of these civil rights leaders marched. They were taking up bets on what day I would get killed. They had a pool set up.
Really?
Black people came out from everywhere. I'm saying they brought me food, they brought me money, they brought me the stories of their families. We need ownership in this. And I'm going to tell you a good thing. I was in a cemetery in Knoxville, Tennessee, dedication of a cemetery. And the teachers brought some of the kids out. And among those kids were about 20 young black men. And I had just finished talking about the Honorable John Nathan Bedford Forrest and how those black folks in Memphis had considered him to be the first civil rights leader for black folks. And up drove a truck with Joe Nathan Bedford Forrest's picture. And I told him about the 47...
Just happened to drive by.
It drove up into the cemetery. I guess it was a little bit late, and I had been talking to him about 47 men, including Nelson Wimbush's grandpa, Napoleon Nelson, who rode with General Forrest, and how he saw these men as being as good as any of his white soldiers. And I'm just telling the story. Well, the truck drove up, and sure enough, there was a picture of General Forrest, and there was no picture of any. And I saw these young black men looking at the truck and looking at the truck, And then finally, they will come at me. You come here, Mr. Edgerton. Now, you've been telling us about General Forrest and all. Where are the black men on this truck? They're not there.
Right.
You know, and I have been working on the Sons of Confederate Veterans all the time. Is listen, you're going to have to teach this thing right. It's your duty to teach it right. You're going to have to start showing it. These black soldiers, my good friend, and I want to throw a plug in for the new company that I formed, Southern Heritage 411, and these folks can go to my website at www.southernheritage411.com. I stopped in Mr. Barber's office before I came here. Well, actually, we had many conversations about this, and I told him, you know, Dixie Outfitters is number one in terms of Southern apparel. I'm not going to Florida without those soldiers, and I have with me some shirts that depict those soldiers here from Black History Month, because these folks in America have taken away the place of honor and dignity earned under the Christian cross of St. Andrew by black folks. We're not there. Hollywood don't show us.
No.
We don't see
we
it.
talked about, you know, how the NAACP is basically, it's not a Christian organization.
Well, let me say this. Before you say
that's what I'm wondering. Now, if they're run by Jews and headed up by Muslims now, could it be that the political aspect of this is, if we let those folks listen to Dixie, there's a chance that the next song they might listen to is Amazing Grace?
Absolutely. Well, you see, absolutely. You know, let me put it to you like this. Let me say it this way. One of the most honorable things I ever did was to serve as president of NAACP. Because my fight was not against my Southern heritage. My fight was for all of God's children. My father, being a Baptist minister, always instilled that in us, that it's not the color of your skin, it's the content of your character. It doesn't make any difference, son, because you see color and white. You can move forward in life if you work hard, get educated, buy you some property, save your money, keep your good respect. Folks will love you no matter what your color is. And he was right. You know, Booker T. Washington said the very same thing. I mean, Jim Crow was something that was voted on by all those members, every member of the Supreme Court, with the exception of a Southern white plantation, former plantation owner, who said, no, we don't need Jim Crow in Southland America. But it was forced upon us, again, by the North. We rolled up our sleeves, just like during the Reconstruction, and black folks and white folks worked together to build our society. White folks taught us how to be business owners in the South. I hate to tell you this. With the advent of integration, we went backwards. We lost all that land, we lost the businesses, we lost a lot of things.
Well, you notice that a lot. I talked to he was a teacher in Leesburg years ago. In Leesburg, of course, they're segregated. And when some of the Freedom guys came down, they went to the principal of the Leesburg High School. And he said, look, we have a better school than those white guys on the other side of town, because they had built all this stuff. We had a pool, we had all this, that, and the other. And so he said, look, we'll handle this on our own. This is our town. You know, it'll be time. And they said, no. This is the way it's got to be. They tore the school down. They integrated the classrooms. And they didn't start in kindergarten. They started in high school. And some of these kids had been placed in a position in their lives because of Reconstruction where there was animosity between blacks and whites, especially up north. I know when I grew up, there was an animosity. If you're going to try to help folks get together and get along, you don't start in the 11th grade. And that's what they did, because I think they wanted to fight. I think there's some elements that they have a sadistic pleasure in being chaos, so they can come in and go, we can help.
If you tell the truth about history, if you tell truths around here, people will have to pay bills. When you walk past these buildings and you tell these babies over here, well, that used to be your grandpa's. And you say, well, what happened to it? When you find out, these babies find out that General Sherman seized that property, so they want to know, wait a minute, this is a war crime, the shooting and the killing. And these babies nowadays, even though we talk about them, they want to know what's going on. The best way that you keep all that hid, and if you talk about the Patriot Act and all the kind of things we're losing, you must not have that flag around, because if you do, you're going to have to talk about that Constitutional Republic. You're going to have to talk about all that stealing and murdering and raping and robbing and all those war crimes that took place around here. So the best thing to do, get rid of the flag. You got to get rid of that flag, because it is the symbol of who we are as a people. And if you bring that flag out, you're going to have to talk about the very things that we're talking about now, the Constitutional Republic. And you keep talking about these babies being sensitive. And I'm going to say this, because I don't want to hog up all the time here. I just left Lexington, Kentucky.